Henry VIII, King of England from 1509 until his death in 1547, is best known for his brutality, as well as for his 6 marriages. One famous adage goes, divorced, beheaded, and died, divorced, beheaded, survived. That is the order Henry went through his wives, but one above them all has become the most famous of his spouses. The extraordinary life events of Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife, have captured the imagination of the public and historians alike, a woman who made him wait for 7 years before marrying. However, it would prove to be a fatal decision, for Henry would later have her beheaded, although some evidence suggests he may well have been coerced into doing so. Anne had only been queen for 3 years when she was found guilty of high treason by a jury of her peers in the King's Hall at the Tower. Thought to be 35 years old at the time, she was accused of having sexual relationships with 5 courtiers, including her brother, George Boleyn, Lord Rochford, and the King's close friend, Sir Henry Norris. According to the indictments, not only had she slept with these men, but she had also conspired with them to kill her husband, crimes which were said to have occurred between October 1533 and January 1536. While many came to accept that Henry's bloodthirsty and brutal character was to blame for her murder, the events which led to Anne's death were reinterpreted during the Smithsonian Channel's documentary, Henry VIII and the King's Men. Historians have pointed out that around 3/4 of the dates in the indictments do not make sense. Neither Anne nor the accused men were present at the places and times stated. Henry was desperate for a male heir, but Anne suffered 3 miscarriages, the final being a boy. Become an Express Premium member. Support fearless journalism. Read the Daily Express online. Advert free. Get super fast page loading. Start 30-day free trial to Henry. This was God showing his hand. He wasn't going to favor him and Anne with a son and heir, noted historian Tracy Borman. At this point, Thomas Cromwell, Henry's chief minister, identifies a weakness between the two. He and Anne are said to have clashed over religion and matters of state. More than that, said the narrator, he blamed her for the untimely demise of his mentor, Cardinal Wolsey. This was his chance for vengeance. Anne hated Wolsey, who she blamed for separating her and Henry Percy, her partner before the king, in order for Henry to take her hand. Because of this, Wolsey's standing in high society plunged, despite him once being a loyal subject of the king. With Cromwell aware of this, Professor Susan Doran, a historian at the University of Oxford, said it is possible that Henry VIII was manipulated into agreeing to the execution of his wife. I think he, Cromwell, wanted revenge on Anne for the downfall of his patron and his friend, Cardinal Wolsey, she said. In Cromwell's eyes, Anne was held responsible for his death. In that respect, Henry was manipulated. Original documents housed in the British Library reveal how Cromwell may well have orchestrated Anne's downfall. One letter shows just how much the men around him were pulling the strings. Ms. Borman said, "So Henry might or might not have instructed Cromwell to get him out of his marriage. I think it's likely he did. But whether he had this in mind, I think, is more debatable. Perhaps Henry was thinking of an annulment. But Cromwell was getting rid of Anne rather more permanently than that, setting up a case for adultery with not just 1, but 5 men. That's why he calls it abominable here in this letter. Henry based his decision on the evidence presented to him by Cromwell in the letter, and, certainly, it suited him to believe it," said Ms. Borman. And therefore, the order for Anne's execution went through. In 2021, an overlooked document, part of Henry's warrant books, showed the extent to which he agonized over Anne's death, stipulating that although his queen had been adjudged to death by burning of fire or decapitation, he had been moved by pity to spare her the more painful death of being burned by fire. But he continued, "We, however, command that the head of the same Anne shall be cut off." Miss Boleyn told the Observer that the letter cast Henry as a pathological monster. She said, "There's a previously unknown document about one of the most famous events in history. It really is gold dust, one of the most exciting finds in recent years." What it shows is Henry's premeditated, calculating manner. He knows exactly how and where he wants it to happen. Quote,